Hello Hairbrain community, my name is Stephen Moody and I'm here at the fantastic Wella studio in Calabasas, California. This is my lovely model Keela, who we've got an amazing color story to share with you. We're going to share some really great tips and tricks on styling hair as well. But before we do that, we're going to get on with a haircut. And I know you guys like to see us get going right away with hair cutting. So basically what I'm going to do with Keela's hair is cut off a lot of this hair that's a little bit compromised, it's a little bit dry, and really bring the color to life with a haircut. What I'm going to be doing is working on a technique that you're all familiar with. It's called graduation. And it's going to be tighter and snugger through the nape, fuller and rounder through the back of the crown. And the shape, for people who've attended Cutcraft, is triangular. So it's going to be a whisker shorter to a whisker longer through the front. To give it a nice little twist, we've got quite a low contemporary side parting that is kind of working off of Keela's cowlick in there. That's a natural cowlick. This side's going to be a little bit shorter. This side's going to be a little bit longer. So let's get going. I'm starting with a dividing section through the back. And again, for people that have attended Wella Cutcraft, you know the quickest and easiest way to find that dividing section is, with your thumb and the spine. I've already taken sections that pivot around the occipital bone through here, and I've built weight up from short to long, short to long. So I'm going to pick up where I left off through here, which is around about there, I believe, and show you that little angle through there. I'm going to do the same at both sides. So it's kind of easier to cut both sides at the same time. Again, another little tip and trick there that makes it a little easier. And I'm trying to get out of your way so you can clearly see what am I up to. Again, for people that are just joining us, my name is Stephen Moody. Welcome to Hairbrained live on Facebook. And I think this is going to lots of other channels as well. And we've got an amazing color on here that was done by Victoria Thurman Hall, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later. I'm going to get on with the haircut first. So there's my sectioning pattern through there. Dividing section through the middle, slightly diagonal sections through here. And again, what I want to do is put a little bit more elevation through the middle and a little bit less elevation through the sides. The reason I want to do that is my finished shape is going to be triangular. Now, a little disclaimer here. What I've done, I've left like a jellyfish out on these edges. I've completely not cut the edges. And what I'm going to do is complete my haircut, blow dry my haircut, and then that's going to give me lots of hair to play with at the end, because I know you guys love the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes of your haircut where you can really put your own stamp on the hair. So stick around until the end and yeah, you're going to see that. So all my sections from here on in, and again, for people that have attended Wella Cutcraft, you know this is a key word. All my sections from here on in are parallel. So that means the angle of that section there has not changed. It's identical. It's the same angle as the previous section. We've got the lovely Sarah Tomich, who is to my right, who's fielding questions. So anybody with any questions about the color, about the haircut, please fire away. And we'll do our best to answer your questions. How about that, Mark? Is that good for you?
That's good, Bob.
Yay.
Cool.
Yay. So I'm moving around. I'm trying to get into the best spot here so you can see what am I doing. So on this side, a little tip and trick, a little Moody Monday tip and trick is on this side. If you're right-handed, get your elbow up. Get your tips down. On the other side, I'm going to be backwards way around. So on the other side, my elbow is going to be down. Obviously, if you're left-handed and I know a lot of you are, you need to reverse that. So more elevation, less elevation. One more time. More elevation, less elevation. The reason I want to do that is so that we have a higher graduation to a lower graduation. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to spin around and I'm going to come over here so you guys can get a great view of that. There we go. So again, on this side, my elbow is touching my pelvis. My elbow is down, it's not up.
Question, Stephen. Moody, could you tell us a little bit about cut craft or triple craft?
Sure. Who's that from, Sarah?
You have to go back in the feed. Give me a second here. Rachie Baby 14 on Wella Education.
Hey, Rachie Baby. Great question. So the question is from Rachie, what is cut craft? What is triple craft? Let me start with cut craft. What we designed probably about 3 or 4 years ago is really a way to cut hair that really connects to today's hairdressing. And obviously today's hairdressing, we all know, is very, very color-centric. Color is at the heart of everything that we do, both creatively and financially in a hair salon. So when we wrote cut craft, we really connected it to working with lines, working with graduation, working with layers, and most importantly of all, working with combinations so that we really sort of spanned and took away that fear, if you will, of understanding how to cut hair. So it really kind of releases the doubt, if you will, from what's behind cutting hair. But at the same time, we all know in 2019, we don't really make a lot of money from cutting hair. We make a lot of money from combining cut and color. So really, that's really what's behind cut craft. It's a 4-day class here in the studio. It's a half-day class if you're a Wella customer and you're wanting this in the field. It's a half-day class that we deliver in salons as well. And Sarah, we've got a really talented team of Wella brand educators, shameless plug here, that's out there in the field that are delivering this information in salons. So I'm just going to talk about this for a second here before I jump onto my second question, which is about triple craft. So right here, you can see my knuckle is lower than my tip. So what that does, that makes that bit there more graduated than that bit there. I'm also, if you notice, pulling this hair ever so slightly away from Keela's face. And again, what that does, that just lets that hair swing longer towards the face through there. So all my sections now are going to be parallel to here. Because I'm demonstrating this, it's kind of easier for me to stay here and complete this side. This is the heavier of the two sides. It's also the side that's going to be a little bit longer. So please notice how the angle of that section has not changed. The angle of that section is identical. Not only is it parallel to the previous section, it's also parallel to what I'm cutting, which is short to long through here. So again, working from the crown, elevating this the most through here, not using a massive amount of tension through here. The reason is I'm in the crown area. And as we all know, in the crown, that really whirls and swirls, and we have to be a bit more gentle. As I get to the sides here, I'm using a little bit more tension, using the narrow end of the comb. And again, just like on the previous section, as I work towards the front, my elevation is dropping. And I'm getting a really great feeling about this color. This color is really starting to pop now. And it's because some of that hair that's a little tired is starting to hit the floor. So there you can see that lovely sort of build-up of weight through there. That's sort of shorter to longer this way. I'm not really looking too much at my jellyfish, this area down here. I'm going to dry that and really work with that a little bit later through there. So, Sarah, I hope that answered the question regarding cut craft. Let me talk a little bit about Wella Triple Craft. Wella Triple Craft is really a program that really is designed to reach about 150 people in a wonderful format that we call Look and Learn. And it's basically 3 really talented Wella artists working on stage, one delivering color, another delivering styling, and another delivering cutting. And basically what we're doing with that program is really making over people's hair. So we're making over curly hair, straight hair, long hair, short hair, but we're doing some degree of transformation with that hair. And again, we're making that transformation relative to what you do on a day-to-day basis in a salon. So some of the people that we work on are very pierced and tattooed. Some of the people that we work on are more conservative and salon friendly. So really what we're doing is a mishmash of all different kinds of hair, a little bit like what you do every day when you work in a salon. Typically most people do a whole mixture of different types of client segmentation when they're working on hair. And that's what we do with Triple Craft. That event is followed by 2 days where we do a really intensive hands-on with 8 people working with, oh, that's looking beautiful. If we can just get that straight on. Can you see that little heart shape through there? Look, that's formed from the graduation. And again, that's kind of creeping longer and longer and longer towards the face. So the second 2 days is hands-on. So participants in that get an opportunity to really cut, color, and finish and make over their own model of their own choosing. And we take them through a really exciting step-by-step photo session. So they walk out of that session and they walk out with a before and after photograph, as well as having got the knowledge from that amazing Wella artist who focuses on cutting hair, coloring hair, and styling hair. And Mark, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we've got a dance card that we want to share with everybody. So everybody at home, if you want to take a screenshot of what Mark's about to put up there. This is not the formulas, this is the dates for cut craft, the dates for triple craft in different parts of the country and different parts of the world.
Stephen,
so if you, yep.
Before you get into all of that, I think it's really cool. And we have a question from Brittany Mae Williams on Hair Braid. Are you building weight with her hair from the way you're holding it?
Brittany, that's a fantastic question. Good job. Brittany's question is, am I building weight? And I think the answer is definitely. And how I'm building weight is one of the 3 techniques that we use. It's called graduation. And really, it's the quintessential technique to make hair thicker, make hair fuller, make hair bigger, make hair more voluptuous. So that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm cutting the hair from short to long. So the hair in the nape is quite short and tight. The hair on top is longer and heavier. So to answer your question, yes, I am most definitely building weight. And when Victoria comes up here and talks about color, the way she's placed the color is really bearing in mind that this is what I'm doing with the hair. So the placement of the color, the choice of the color, the way the color works is no accident. It's kind of working together and fitting together so that the haircut speaks to the color speaks to the haircut. So almost finished with this side. I'm not going to the middle and stopping. What I'm doing here, if I can just tip my beautiful model over here, I'm actually going to her parting. So I'm cutting all of this hair into this side. So I've got more hair to cut here, less hair to cut on the other side. I can hear people asking the question, but what if your client wants it the same at both sides? Then that's no problem. All you need to do is cut the hair to a center parting. But in this case, we're going to go for something that's a little bit more city, a little bit more dramatic. And there we go. So that's that side finished. You can see, whoops, wrong way around. And I promised Keela that I would keep that front just a whisker past her chin. And I think I've kept my word there. Yay. So obviously when that's dry, I'll come and polish that. So onto this other side. It's the same technique at this other side. The only difference, guys, is on this side, I'm backwards, we're round. So if you remember, on this side, I'm elbow up, I'm tips down. On the other side, I was tips up, elbow down. Hey, Sarah, do we have any more questions?
We do have some questions. I'm going to answer some of them online. Mostly, where can we get Wella hair color? That's one question from David Hairstylist, which I'm typing in an answer right now. So we have mywellastore.com, and we also have Cosmoprof stores and your local distributors as well.
Cool. So let me do a better job of sectioning this off so you can see a little bit clearer on camera. So the angle of this section is exactly the same as the other side. Exactly the same. And again, I'm remembering to elevate more to less. A little trick, and again, if you blink, you guys are going to miss this one. When I cut this side, I shifted this dividing section through the middle. I shifted it about 5 millimeters to the right. And what that does, that prevents this drying over a period of time into a center parting at the back. So my dividing section, what I do, I kind of shift it just a teeny tiny bit. So that really helps me to sort of style the hair at the end. It doesn't divide and dry into a center parting through there. So again, a little bit less elevation through here. Cool. And then this goes all the way now into her face. And I'm going to stand over here. Another really valuable tip and trick here, guys, that I'm going to share with you. When you're sectioning hair like this, if you comb the hair like that, can you see there's like little ruts in the hair? And the angle of those ruts is the same as the way that I'm going to section the hair. So number one, I can section a hair fast. And number two, I can section a hair very, very, very precise. That's a great time saver, guys. When you're in the salon, give that a try, because it's really simple and easy. It saves time. So again, if you're just joining us, my name is Stephen Moody. And I'm at the Wella studio here in Calabasas. We're in Studio 5, which is an amazing studio dedicated to broadcast. And this is my lovely model, Keela. And answering questions on the computer over here is the lovely Sarah Tomic. And for a surprise and a treat, we've got an amazing, amazing colorist that's going to be joining us in a minute. Many of you are familiar with Wella's one and only Victoria Thurman Hall, who's worked on this color here. And when we get this a little bit nearer to dry, Victoria's going to talk a little bit about what did she do with color. So again, on this side, same thing. I'm elevating a lot less here than I did on the other side. And as you can see, I'm coming through here a little bit flatter than the other side. Cool. And there's my weight building up. And as you can see, this shape is triangular. It's a little bit longer at the back than it is, sorry, a little bit longer at the front than it is at the back. Got that the wrong way around. Cool. So here's my next section. Again, coming through here. And if you've only just joined us, I am cutting this haircut to the parting. I'm not going to cut a hair to a center parting. You could do if you wanted, but I'm not here. I'm cutting a hair to a right side parting. So she will end up with something that's heavier on one side, lighter on the other, which for me looks a little bit more kind of expensive. But that's just my taste. We mentioned earlier too, when we're around the crown, we want to create a little bit less tension. So if you notice, as I'm working in the crown, I'm working with that end of the comb bob. Can we get that? Yep. When I'm working on the sides and in the nape, I'm working on this end of the comb. So more tension, less tension. And again, if you're just joining us, as I'm cutting the hair, I'm decreasing the elevation as I get towards the front. And I'm slightly, not much, over directing a little bit away from her face. You gotta drop your shoulder there, Stephen. Okay. Yeah, you're blocking. How's that? Cool, so I'll stay right there. Here's my next section. So almost finished with this, and then I'm going to do a little bit of layering through here, and then it's blow dry time. How are we doing for time, guys? 20 minutes in. 20 minutes in, yep. So who are we saying hi to, Sarah? Who's on there?
We have a lot of people. We have some people from Brazil. We've got Augusto Anlanciar. Sorry if I butchered your name. We've got a lot of people from all over. Why don't you everybody give us a shout out where you're from?
Sarah, I'm going to work in Brazil.
You are? That's awesome.
In August, yeah. I'm really looking forward to going back and working with the team in Brazil. Great hairdressers in Brazil. Absolutely amazing. How's my body position, Mark?
Your body position, you really do need to move a little bit out of the way there. Drop your shoulder and you keep on blocking the camera there.
Big shout out for the whole team at Hairbrain, Sarah. To Courtney and to Randy and Gerard and all the wonderful people who do an amazing job. And let's not forget Gordon. Absolutely. We can never forget Gordon. Yeah. Did I miss anybody? I'm sure I did.
So we've got people all over. We've got a shout out to Brandon as well. Nice camera work there on Wella Ed. Good job there.
Great job.
And Vancouver's in the house. Patrick. We've got Lafayette, Louisiana. Rachel from Greece. Not our favorite Greek. He's not here right now. London, Baltimore, Michigan, Florida, Illinois. What's up? Virginia,
What's up?
Ohio. Hey, Kelsey. How you doing? Newfoundland. Very cool hair up there. Houston. ATL.
Yay. So what I'm going to do now is show you a really cool trick when you are cutting anything that's got a side parting. We all know that when we do triangular shapes and shapes that kind of come into the face, it can look a little bit heavy around the eyes. So this is a great little trick to do. This is called layering. The technique is called layering, and the shape is called concave. So what I'm doing there, I'm starting with a diagonal section through there. I'm staying on the opposite side, and I'm lifting this hair up and away. And Bob, do you mind if I come up quite tall here? Can you capture that? So I'm pulling that into the parting. So right through there, look, and I'll wait for you, Bob, to give me the nod to say you've got that. I'm cutting from long down into short, And I'm taking off that little corner there. And I'll cut that and then I'll show you what does it do. What's the purpose of that. That's not changing the length. The length is right there, look. But what it does do, it just gives the parting a little bit of direction and really stops the hair kind of flopping forward and into a face. So again, if I turn around into the camera so Bob can capture this, it just really sort of helps to push that across there. Keela already has a cowlick in there, so all it's really doing is just harnessing the cowlick.
We've got a question from Brittany Mae Williams. What about when one side is longer and they want it to be the same but have a side part?
So the question is, how about when one side is longer but you want a side parting?
And they want it to be the same but have a side part. So equal on each sides, but they wear a side part.
So I think, Sarah, you help me out with this one. I think in that instance, what you would do, you'd cut the hair into a center parting. So let me just show you in the camera. You'd cut the hair into a center parting. You cut both sides the same, and then you'd come back in and you would blow dry into the hair a side parting. And then both sides will be the same. And if she wants to flip a parting from this side to that side, no problem. The other option too is to put a few layers in there, which is really what I'm doing now, which kind of releases the interior of the hair so there really isn't too much of a long piece flopping around on top. So again, I've kind of run out of hair here, look, because I've over-directed number 2 into number 1. I've over-directed number 3 into number 1, number 4 into number 1. And I'm going to do the same on the other side.
Great, Stephen, for sharing that. Another question we have on Wella Education. Can you tell us where you got that amazing comb and scissors?
Ah! Okay, so let's start with the comb. We've got a brand educator by the name of Tiffany who had the great idea, hi Tiffany, because I know you're watching, of really working on a gay pride comb. So to cut a long story short, she's the one with the idea. So I have to credit her with the idea. And then I went to a company called YS Park, and they've made this comb. And it's really cool because it's actually, the comb itself has been laser colored. So the color itself, Bob, if we can get that on camera, the color itself has been painted on the surface. It's really a YS Park blank, clear comb. And the color's been laser etched on there. Unlike a regular YS Park comb that's colored all the way through. And what we're looking at the moment is how do we best bring those to the market? Because again, Sarah, shameless plug here, but we've got a whole series of IME styling products that have got a really cool connection to gay pride. And we're looking to make that part and parcel of that. So the last thing I'm going to do is just come through the crown and put a little bit of layering in the back of the crown through here, not much. So a triangular section through there. I'm lifting that up and over. And the key thing here when you're doing this part is making sure that this really is kind of falling away. So I'm just rounding that over through there, look, and connecting that crown area, the area that's in the back of the crown, and connecting it up and over and into there, which again kind of lightens the inside. This is the hair that's typically the oldest. So color-wise, it often needs a little bit of help with the scissors through there. So just rounding that little corner off through there. Let me turn around and you can see my sectioning pattern. There we go. So picking that up that way. All of that underneath is falling away, look. I don't want to disturb what I've cut underneath, and just rounding that over. Thanks for all these great questions, by the way. I love questions. And I think Sarah Tomich has got another one.
From Taylor St. Onge, what difference does an angled section do for layers versus a straighter section? And this is coming from Hairbrained.
So the question is, what is the advantage of a vertical section over a diagonal section over a horizontal section? What I find is when I'm layering hair, if I take a vertical section, it makes the hair collapse the most. So it makes the hair the most head hugging and smaller. So that woman who's got or man who's got lots and lots and lots of hair, vertical sections will really make that volume kind of go away and sink in. Diagonal sections are going to give you more direction, and that's a little bit of what I'm doing now. So diagonal sections will traditionally push the layers towards the face or away from the face. Horizontal layers are the ones that I use the least. And the reason is horizontal layers, they tend to make the hair very bulky and chunky and heavy, which is really the opposite to what you want to do with layers. With layers, what you're really looking to do is get rid of weight, make it lighter and softer. So I hope that answered your question. Again, thanks for all these wonderful questions. Fantastic. So there you can see that shape, you can see the graduation underneath, you can see the lovely profile that we've got going on there. You can see also in here, I've kind of freed all this up so it's not so heavy and geometric and solid up there. It's a little bit lighter with those layers. I'm going to do the same on this side. There we go. And again, as I'm layering this, I'm doing what I did on the other side, which is basically pushing away from the length at the front. So I'm cognizant of the fact that the layers are longer to the front. There we go. There's really not much to do here. I can't wait to see this Wella color. This is looking great.
A few people asking on Instagram, Stephen, about the hair on the nape and her neck.
Yeah, if you weren't here earlier, you're probably wondering, what's all that long hair doing on the nape? I explained at the very beginning what I wanted to do was basically drop that out. So this is the length of her hair originally. So that's really what we started with. So when I did my graduation through here, I literally graduated her hair long to short through here. So I cut this shape. But when I got into the nape, I just literally stopped dead in my tracks. So I'm going to dry her hair now. After I've dried her hair, what I'm going to do is polish and tweak and really finesse the whole of the perimeter. To dry her hair, a really cool product from Wella. This is part of the IME portfolio through here. And if you're not familiar with this, this is called Perfect Me. And Perfect Me is ideal as like a foundation, a base to put into the hair, to just calm the hair down, particularly this sort of hair, and get a really nice finish and a nice polish on the hair. You don't need a massive amount. So I'm probably going to use, let's see, I'm probably going to use about that much to begin with. And I can always go back and use a little bit more through here. And I'm going to make this into the hair, probably at the mid-lengths and the ends more than the roots. And certainly where her hair is a little bit more thirsty. Now that's not the only IME product that I'm going to use. I'm going to use another one a little bit later. But yeah, get to that later. So before I hand over to the amazing Victoria Thurman Hall for her to talk about the color technique that she's used here, before I do that, I just wanted to get going and talk a little bit about my styling technique that I'm going to do. So I'm going to use 3 separate brushes here. One is kind of 5-row, and it's quite tight in diameter through there. The next one is a 7-row, and then the next one is a 9 row. And in a nutshell, what I'm going to do is start in the nape, and I'm going to blow dry this hair very small and very flat and very compacted. As I work up the back of the head and into the longer hair, I'm going to move over to the 7 row, to the 9 row, and create a little bit more volume and expansion with the hair. In the nape, I don't want to expand this. I want to keep this really small and flat through there. So, again, I've got that product. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to put a little bit more of that in there. It's a tad thirsty towards the front. And what I like to do, and you've probably seen me doing this all the way through the haircut, when she came from the shampoo bowl, I immediately put a parting in her hair. So that parting's never really left her. In cutting her hair, that parting's never really left her. So I've worked with that parting right the way through. And as I blow dry the hair now, I'm going to do the same thing. I want to blow dry the hair to the parting. I don't want to lose that parting. Again, if you were here at the beginning, you heard me say what we're doing is a technique that's graduated, a shape that is triangular. So it's shorter in the back to longer in the front. And one side's heavier and the other side is lighter. And again, if you were not around earlier, if you don't want to have a light and a heavy side, you can do this technique, no problem, with a center parting. That's perfectly fine. So the first thing I want to talk about is using this brush here. And I want to tip her head forward and really dry this hair very, very small through here. So a little trick when you're drying this with this brush, you don't want to do any whirling and twirling with the brush. You want to keep the brush very small to the head. A general rule of thumb is through here is when you're drying this hair, what you want to do is have the dryer chase the brush. You don't want to have the two come apart. So very, very small and tight to the head. So Sarah, do you think this is a great time to bring on the one and only Miss Victoria Thurman Hall?
Yes, Victoria Thurman Hall, our master color expert, and she is just amazing. She did a beautiful job on Keely's color.
Yay! It was my pleasure to work with Stephen. We had a model casting this morning, and when it comes to the model casting, we had a few options, but Stephen and I both agreed to do Tila Tequila, and when it came down to it, Stephen is one of my favorite people to work with because he actually cuts off all the yucky hair. So he's my favorite colorist tool. Because if you take a look at her before pictures and really have a look at what Keela's hair looked like before, she came in with a 7, so she was a medium blonde that had been lightened but not lightened and toned. So she also had really compromised level 9 and 10 through the ends, and her ends were quite stretchy and almost kind of an accordion. And Stephen goes, but she's a color correction, Victoria. You said no color correction. And I said, do you want to go copper? Do you want to be a redhead? And she went, yeah. And I said, no longer a color correction, because she was already the level that I wanted her to be. Yeah, you want to see that before shot?
That sounds great.
Yeah, there we are. So she had a medium blonde at the root, and then it was very golden, and it wasn't toned, but through her ends, that level 9 and 10. Very porous. Stephen likes to say poor, tired. I'll just say, guys, poor condition. But I actually used Illumina color to help with making her look vibrant, but still on the natural side. So let me put up on the screen my formula that I used, which was at the roots, Illumina color, 7-stroke 4-3 in a 1-to-1 ratio with 6%. Willoxan Perfect. And through the ends, I used Illumina Color 9-stroke 4-3 in a 1-2 and a 6 volume. So with that, it kind of gave me a little bit deeper, rootier look, exactly where she was already a level 7. And then through the ends, kind of played on the melting of the color through the ends and created that lighter cast. It gives her this beautiful copper, and without all the work. I worked with what she had, not with like some sort of far-landed goal in doing a color correction. Because our model casting today was at 11, and we had to turn this around, feed everybody, get makeup on, get the wardrobe, get the pre-cut. And so sometimes color could be just really beautiful by keeping it simple. So Illumina Color, what do you guys think?
Kiss.
Keep it simple.
Beautiful.
And cutting off all of those ends really works to making the hair look so much healthier. All right, any questions about the hair color?
Pastel.
So absolutely. Let me just kind of rephrase what I did through the ends. I used a 1-2 and pastel with the Illumina Color of the very light blonde that is that red and gold kind of copper feel. So I did use a 1-2 and pastel. Okay.
I just love, and you can see it as I'm drying it, you can see these different levels of color in the nape. And I love how the nape, Victoria, is so much deeper and richer, and really makes that recede.
Yeah.
And the top is beginning to pop.
And what's really fun about like keeping color simple sometimes is really using what your clients have to give them the look that you're going for. And this is the first time she's ever been a redhead. And I think it's just absolutely stunning. And it was funny when she was looking in the mirror, and she's totally looking at me right now, grinning from ear to ear. But what's really hysterical is I caught her looking in the mirror and she's all, and Eric Allen, who's doing our makeup, he was like, beautiful, beautiful. And her eyes are popping, her skin's glowing. And sometimes just that change from a blonde to a redhead. She's a working actress. She's like, blondes are kind of a half a dozen or another. So this is giving her the opportunity to potentially have a new type of look and an opportunity for going out and getting those roles.
Stand out in the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Stephen?
I'm using a little bit of tension. Like most of us, her hair's a tiny bit curly in the temples. So by using a bit of tension with my fingers, I can kind of stretch that out and get that to sit quite small and flat. I'm using, if you weren't with us earlier, I'm kind of using 3 different brushes. I'm using a 5-row brush to get into the nape, a 7-row with the mid lengths, and for the long hair on top, I'm using a 9-row. That gets a really lovely polish on the hair. And I'm using the slow speed of the dryer, Victoria, which is taking me a little bit longer.
So you're using the GHD blow dryer, which is really fantastic.
I am, yeah. And we saw that in the list of items that we're using earlier. We listed out OPI nails, which we'll share with you a little bit later. We listed out the color formulations. We listed out IME, which are the styling products that we are using. And yeah, we also listed out this GHD dryer, which is fantastic. Yeah, I'm just going to turn it up a little bit to do the top.
Okay. Well, and I think the really fun thing is the nail lacquer that we used is called Pants on Fire. We'll actually have a close-up of that too. And we kind of did a theme with her outfit. You'll see at the end where everything is new and fresh, and she's walking out with a total transformation. But what's really great is what a pleasure she was to work with. Not a problem at all. Every suggestion that we made, she was like, yeah, totally awesome. And
we can do that.
what fun to do this kind of dramatic makeover. I'm looking at her and she's like a totally different person than when we started.
I think the other thing too that we should add, Victoria, I'll just turn the dryer down a little bit, is I think when you do these looks where you've got a haircut that truly does connect to the color, and the color connects to the haircut, and they all connect to the personality of the person underneath, I think what we're doing also is driving customers to come and get their hair done every 6-8 weeks. And we all know, many of you sitting there at home now know that, you know, the hair appointment has been elongating. It's been getting wider and wider and wider. And specifically with triple craft, Wella triple craft, that's what we've been driving hairdressers to do, is to put forward looks, colors, cutting techniques, consultations, styling techniques that really connect people to looks that drive people back into the salon. Because that means money. Yeah, that means money. How are we doing, Sarah?
We still have some questions that are coming through. One was a quick question about, did we use Wellaplex in the hair color as well? What about that? A couple more about the haircut. What about the nape, if you wanted to reiterate that?
So for the question for Wellaplex, when it comes to the utilization of Wellaplex and Keela, I'm going to be like, I am nothing but if honest. And the answer is no, we did not. If she was a client, I would have. The problem today was all about timing. And we were literally coloring her and whipping her in here 5 minutes before we started. So Wellaplex would have added another 20 minutes that we just didn't have. But Wellaplex is a bond builder that could really help. But Keela and I have hooked up, and we are going to make sure that she knows how to take care of her color from there on out. So it's on our to-do list the next time we meet.
Stephen, could you move the model around while you blow dry a little bit there so the audience can see? Thank you.
How's that?
A little bit more to your right. You got to stretch your arm stretch there. Covering. They want to see the side graduation.
So
You're
almost
unafraid.
finished here, Sarah. And what's really interesting too, and I know you run into this all the time with your customers, is her hair appeared to begin with to be quite fine, not to be very much hair, but she's got a lot of hair, or got a lot of hairs.
Yeah, absolutely. Her density was through the roof. She's got so much on her head. And that's one of the things, like when we look at timing, her hair is, when we look at timing, the more hair somebody has on their head, the more we have to color. So it took me a little bit more color to use on her head, as well as a little bit more time. And knowing that, feeling the amount of hair that she has on her head for our start, I knew what I could do and what I couldn't do in our short time frame. I'm blow drying it. There's a lot of hair to be blow dried.
What was that, Mark?
8 minutes.
I can't hear that.
8 minutes. Okay.
Right. Any more questions, Sarah?
Would this haircut work for any face shape?
Would this haircut work for any face shape? I think it's incredibly flexible. Yeah, I think it would work for a lot of face shapes. The bottom line is the silhouette is kind of heart-shaped, and anything that's a little bit heart-shaped, Sarah, is a winner. Yeah. Anything that's a little bit heart-shaped is definitely a winner. It suits most people. Good question. So I know you're dying for me to share with you this, this hairline finishing technique through here. So I'm going to stop there and I'm just going to carve out this perimeter shape through here. This color's amazing. So a little bit of tension here in the nape. And again, if you weren't with us earlier on, I purposely left out these little pieces through here. So I'm going to turn this around to Bob so you can see. I'm going to use a little bit of tension here on the tips of my scissors. Have you got that, Bob?
Yep.
Can I cut that? Yep. And really kind of snug that up towards the hairline. Because I'm using lots of tension through here, that's going to spring up. And it's really going to elongate that neck shape through there. A lot of you follow me on Hair Moody, and you've seen me do these kinds of shapes. It's one of my favorite hairline shapes to work on through here. So lots of tension. So what that really does when you look in profile, it makes that quite big through there, shorter to longer through there, and then coming into this front. So I'm up against a barrier here, which is 60 minutes for Instagram before we get cut off. So I'm looking to get this in as tight as I can. And Mark, can we continue with Facebook a few minutes?
We could.
Yep. Beautiful. And that just gives us that lovely sort of elongated shape through there. And here's my heavy side. Are you good there, Bob? And if you notice my scissors, I'm kind of going across the hair about 45 degrees. And that just gives me that lovely sort of elongated shape through there. And again, I just like to move that hair around. And this is really my kind of favorite part of any haircut, is the last sort of 15, 20%. And I'm not looking to cut a straight line here. You can see this underneath is quite jagged and soft because it's graduated. I don't want to make that clean and blunt. So I'm not going across the hair this way. I'm going across the hair at about 45 degrees. There we go. So that gives you an idea of where am I going on this side. Do the same on the other side.
Take your time, Steve.
So again, if you're just joining us, we are at the Wella studio in Calabasas. This is Studio 5, our broadcast studio. We've got a beautiful model here by the name of Keela. And she's just had her color done by Victoria Thurman Hall. And I've come through and graduated her hair. And the shape is triangular. So again, are we good there, Bob? Yeah, you're good. Yep. Lots of tension. And if you notice too, my thumb is not in the hole, Bob. Can you see that? And what that allows me to do is just reverse my scissors the other way around and get a lovely sort of contemporary curve through there.
Can we see those scissors again?
Sure. So my thumb is just a little ways inside the hole. Yeah? And it allows me to just come in here, so my thumb is not all the way inside. There, look. You got it, there, look. My thumb is not all the way inside the hole. And that allows me to get into this little tight corner here. Am I out of your way, Bob?
Yeah, you're good.
So now you can see at the beginning why I left out those little pieces. It just gives me the license to cut this lovely shape through here and just carve that in. So then I love that color. Beautiful color, how there's the nape color and the top color is quite different. It really makes the nape sink in through there. Say again? There we go. So now I can look at my screen and see my symmetry through there. Yay.
Instagram loving it, Stephen.
They are?
Yeah.
Well, if Instagram's loving it, I'm loving it, my friend. Yeah. I just think that this particular look and this particular shape and the color and everything on Keeler is very, very commercial. I mean, you can make this work on just about anybody. And obviously you can cut this hair shorter than this. You can cut this hair longer than this. This works incredibly well on curly hair, on very, very curly hair. It works really well on super fine hair too. Really, really fine hair that collapses. You know, you can build volume and length and weight into there as well. So. So I'm going to use a little bit of IME product in here for the top, a little bit of thermal, where are we? Thermal image through there. Again, a lot of you have worked with this product before, so it's a good idea to give it a real good sort of shake to get the two contents all kind of mixed up together. And just helps with the thirst level of the hair. And there we have it, a wonderful, beautiful color from Victoria Thurman Hall, based on Illumina, Wella Illumina, and a haircut from Cutcraft, based on graduation and a triangular shape. So this is Victoria Thurman Hall, who did this amazing color.
VTH _ master colorist, if you wanted to know.
And my name is Moody, and this is my lovely model, Keeler, who's just gone through a gorgeous transformation. And maybe we could stand Keeler up and we can see...
Awesome.
Yeah, you can stay there for me, Keeler. That's cool. Bob, can we come into a wider shot here? Let me get those little hairs off your neck. Come on over here. This color's amazing, girl.
Thank you.
Steven, let's bring her up to the...
You're my favorite colorist tool. Cut it off.
Yay.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
Whoa.
Watch out for Instagram.
There we go. Beautiful. Yep, a few little hairs on the neck there just to clean up. There. Thank you for being a fantastic audience. And yeah, Wella Education.
Here we go, and pull out.
Yay!